the EU has started talking about this before the US. Yes, there are some recent changes since April of 2025 actions by regulatory agencies here. But let's not forget that the first European Union decision, which is a major decision in 2021, October or September, I believe, a resolution that was adopted with majority, with black majority, to establish framework or ask participating countries or member states to start developing frameworks for NAMs, not only in technology, but in education, in integration, in legislative changes, in policy updates and legal frameworks. So interesting, I read an editorial the other day saying that, EU talks and the United States take action. So it's like a kind of a funny title for prodding the EU, but there are so many major efforts in the EU right now. Actually, in the UK, there are things happening right now. But yes, the United States has been faster at adopting at the level of regulatory agencies starting in April. The change in government and administration in the United States has played a big role in that as well. Let's not forget that. And let's not forget that during the Biden administration, the changes that happened at the EPA to develop a particular timeline for phasing out animal testing was tabled. Now this is reinstated. So again, new blood coming into the system of governance, and a new outlook from the administration has helped accelerate the process in the United States. Now, don't get me wrong, I have a whole list of concerns about the steps that are being taken by I don't think we have time to go through that, but just to answer the question, I think there are efforts both in the EU and in the United States, in Australia, in Japan, in other places as well. But the fanfare happened in the United States recently.
Let's get to our results. Go ahead,
sorry.
Samantha.
Well, there is an initiative ongoing between the NIH and NCATS and the FDA where they do want to make an MPS data portal where everything will be standardized and shared. So I think the hurdle there, and one of the big hurdles to the field in building confidence, is not having this shareable data platform where you can go in and look at results across the board. A lot of companies are very protective of their IP, and they're very sensitive to their toxicology data because, if something fails and doesn't move to the clinic, a lot of the times they don't talk about it. So I think this open sharing mindset is a paradigm that needs to be shifted in the field as well, where if you fail fast and fail forward using a NAMS, and you can publish that data so other companies that are even your competitors can see this and look at the data and take precedence from it. I think this mentality needs to shift there. Right. And I think another thing that maybe a lot of people aren't aware of, but there are consortiums like the IQ-MPS, where there's maybe close to 30 pharma companies that all come together, and they're protected, their IP is protected to share openly about their strategies with NAMs, how they're employing them in either efficacy or safety, what hurdles they're currently facing, and then they come together and write white papers and publish those. So you can get some hints about, the pulse of the industry and what people are feeling internally, either internal pressure to, get the fast NAMS data, or external pressure to stop testing on animals. So I think, things like these consortiums, things like the NCATS program, things like the FDA Modernization Act, all of these converging together and then having that paradigm shift in data sharing and, open communication and even showing, toxicology endpoints that aren't going to move to the clinic. Those are all super important to build confidence in the technology, but to also move it forward.
That is a great point. I think data sharing is something that where the industry is starting to appreciate more and more, especially as AI models become more important in their work as well. You're going to want more accurate, better data to kind of produce those results. Zaher, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I know. I was just applauding Samantha, and also very important for benchmarking, because we have a long history of data in humans, right? 50-year history of clinical trials. Some failed, some didn't fail, but the negative results have to be out there so that they can benefit from benchmarking new drugs using NAMs against human data, not against animal data, against the human data. And they exist, and there are plenty of these. There are thousands and thousands of trials that accumulated over the years, over the decades. Those would be vital for benchmarking NAMs against real gold standard, which is a human data. In terms of classes of drugs, I'm talking about, not particular one, but the classes of drugs to gain clarity. So data sharing and openness, and sharing it with the regular folk, sharing it with everyone, so that anybody who has technical knowledge about this can go investigate and look and develop something and come up with a different strategies. So not just sharing them among them. And there is a role for government in this. When the government started the Human Genome Project, it was not a democratic process. They said, look, you center, this is how much money you are going to get. You sequence that part. You do this, you sequence that, and then we're going to come together and assemble. And they had competition from the private industry as well, which accelerated the process. That's the paradigm that needs to happen in NAMs. Government investments that are serious and that are sufficient and that are plentiful, so that you can move the field forward, including and especially data sharing platforms and real data sharing platforms. So it's eligible, intelligible data sharing platform, so we can understand it.